4:05, and I took a call from my boss for a weekly status meeting, and I was telling him how great the meeting went. And all of a sudden he said, "Mike, I gotta interrupt you. I've got some bad news." And at that moment, at age 59, I lost my job of 19 years.
My first marriage seemed picture perfect until we started trying to have children. After countless fertility treatments and a couple miscarriages, I fell into a deep depression and my husband fell away from God. The infertility led to tens of thousands of dollars in credit card debt, and the depression led to infidelity, which eventually led to divorce. In 2009, I moved back home to the South Bay. I was 29, single, broken, and broke.
For several years, I've dreamed of working with orphans and vulnerable children in China. After 7 years of living in China, God finally afforded me the opportunity to work with the children that are so dear to my heart. A month after I started working with them last September, I found myself sitting in a hospital room in Hong Kong as a doctor told me that I had cancer. 10 days later, I found myself sitting in disbelief as doctors here in America told me the cancer had spread and I would be home for a year undergoing treatment.
For years, I used food as a comfort and a friend. Although I knew Jesus as my Savior, I was filled with an emptiness inside that I tried to fill with sugar and binge eating. The more I stuffed myself, the more I stuffed my pain, which resulted in depression and at times isolation. I felt helpless and hopeless to change.
I was a woman trapped in denial, living in a prison, terrified of my present and my future. I had to accept that the love of my life, my husband of 31 years, was unable to stop being abusive. I was angry and hopeless. I haven't worked outside the home in 26 years. What would I do to survive for me and my son? I prayed hard for this cup to pass, but God said, drink.
Of my life. 5 years later, one of those friendships became a relationship. Because of God's redeeming love, I am now remarried to an amazing, godly man, and we are currently in the process of adopting 3 siblings from the foster care system. And someday, they will be able to tell their own story of God's redeeming love.
Cancer, God was faithful to show me that He's not doing this to me, but rather He's doing this with me. Every MRI table I lay on, every IV that is started, every operation table I lay on, every chemo chair I sit on, the God of the universe is with me. I am so thankful that I've had the opportunity to learn that my peace truly comes from knowing that God is with me and not my circumstances.
Addiction to food does not rule me. It's a lie from the enemy. Jesus is my one true source of satisfaction. Each day, as I renounce the lie and surrender to Him, He is lifting this burden from me, taking away the cravings, and I am finding joy, tasting the joy of freedom. By accepting His power in my life, I am victorious.
me and my family every step of the way. For 6 months, he took great care of us. On June 25th of last year, I started a new fantastic job, only by his grace.
My cup is not empty yet, and it won't be for a long, long time. But Jesus is meeting me in my pain and my fear. My situation hasn't changed much, but I have. Because of the resurrection, I know God, and He is good, and He is sovereign, and He is faithful. And the cross shows me just how much He loves me. I now have His peace, His hope, and eventually joy will follow.